I was initially quite nervous to watch One Step Ahead of My Shadow because a lot of the reviews were saying it's very racist, and I thought, okay, is this going to be one of those Warner Brothers cartoons that's just so terrible, it's unbelievable? And for the first 2 minutes, I was thinking this is not that bad. It's not amazing, but it's not horrendous. And then about two or 3 minutes in, it just went from bad to worse. It's very shocking. Definitely one of the worst, and ultimately it became clear to me why people were saying what they were saying in various reviews. This is the 1933 Warner Brothers cartoon directed by Rudolf Ising with a voice cast including Ken Darby, Rudolf Ising, the King's Men, and Carman Maxwell. And it's worth pointing out that the characters are all Chinese. It's set in China, and of course, when you have non-Chinese actors voicing Chinese characters, things can get a little bit awkward, but I could overlook that. It's more so what we actually see, and I don't want to go into too much detail because I do recommend it as a point of interest. I always find the quite racist Warner Brothers cartoons to be interesting to watch, but always a little bit uncomfortable. And yeah, the first 2 minutes or so are absolutely fine. After that, it's just stereotype after stereotype, and some of them are okay, but some of them really aren't. And it's basically about a bunch of characters making music in different ways. And we have this dragon, which was certainly well animated, and the trees in this are gorgeous. Some of the scenery is really stunning. You know, credit where it's due. There are certainly things in this that are worth praising, but there are also things that are maybe not worth praising quite so much. And most of that involves these various stereotypes. And some of the stereotypes, as I said, are definitely not as bad as some of the others, but some of them are not great. And there's not too much else to say about it, to be honest. There's not a lot in the narrative beyond various characters making music in different ways. And then, of course, we have this dragon character who makes things a little bit more interesting. Visually, it is stunning in terms of the backdrops. There's a nice attention to detail. We have a variety of characters, but I think that's more so because they wanted to do a variety of Chinese stereotypes. So usually variety is worth praising. On this occasion, I think it's very apparent that they had fun being creative with various Chinese stereotypes, which is not great, but the animation quality around that is really good. Some of the music is quite good as well. The music they make is pretty nice, but as a cartoon as a whole, I can't say it's enjoyable because it definitely becomes really awkward. It is worth watching, but not necessarily purely from an entertainment perspective. There are some good bits. The trees do look absolutely stunning, and the music is okay. I definitely agree with some of the reviews, though. It's not the most comfortable to watch. So, would I recommend One Step Ahead of My Shadow? For educational purposes and partly for entertainment if you like beautiful backdrops and some good music. But it is definitely not the easiest to watch. The first few minutes, absolutely fine, no problems. But once the ball gets rolling, it just becomes really awkward. I would, of course, love to know what people think of it, if there was a certain point in it when perhaps there was a significant turning point. I didn't pinpoint exactly when it happened, but for me, I think it was probably the moment where there's a Chinese character. Obviously, they're all Chinese, but a character is pulling a cart with somebody in the passenger seat, and the ways that that character was represented just wasn't comfortable. And for me, that was kind of the turning point. Up until that moment, it had been okay, but after that, it just went, well, it went from bad to worse. So not great. There are some good things about it, but overall, I can't say that One Step Ahead of My Shadow is a good cartoon.